Welcome to the video. We're going to tell you how to travel the Philippines on a budget and keep the cost low.
We're going to talk about the route that we took, the best places to visit, and finally at the end there'll be a cost breakdown so you know how much to budget.
We went in December 2024 and the weather was perfect for us, but I'd make sure that you research when the weather is going to be good and what the seasons are like.
Our total trip came to about 3.5 weeks in the end. You can adjust this depending on how long you want to travel for and which places you want to go to.
Yeah, the itinerary we're going to show you, you can adjust it to however many weeks. I'd probably recommend a minimum of 2 weeks though. We started our journey in London then, and we flew from London to Manila via Shenzhen in China. We did that just because it made it the most cheap. I think it was around like £260 the flight. The Skyscanner, just put in where you're leaving from to Manila and then select your date here. So we went in November time, which I'm showing here. Flexible date option, that's pretty good because you can see which month's the cheapest. Then I'm making it one way only, but if you're getting a return, then get a return. And then just like that, you can see the cheapest prices there in green.
So we stayed in Manila for about 3 nights and it was about £25.
Yeah, £25 a person. It was called Grand Opera Hotel.
Although it was in a really bad area.
Yeah, it was really unsafe area, so I don't recommend going to that hotel.
There is quite a bit to do in Manila. There's like a huge fake market called
Green Hills Shopping Centre. It was great, wasn't it? You can get like your SIM card from here and get some cash out. So everything in the Philippines is going to be cash only. So either get your cash before you come to Manila, or get your cash in a trustworthy shopping mall. I recommend using an eSIM. So Airalo's quite a good eSIM option. Yeah. I'll put that in the link below.
Then from Manila, we flew to Coron. It's about an hour and 20 flight. It cost us £63 per person. And then we stayed in Coron for 4 nights in total, and the accommodation was about £33 per night.
Yeah, the accommodation was called Harbour Bliss Hotel. It was really good, wasn't it? The breakfast was great.
Yeah,
breakfast was included. Yeah, in the price. It was pretty close to the port, which is where you'll be getting the boat tours from. Yeah, tuk-tuk. These are about £2-3 each, probably. £2-3 for the tuk-tuk, TikTok.
Yeah, well, if you're like Max, you can haggle with.
Yeah, I'd recommend haggling that to be honest, because they say like the equivalent of £6 English pounds, but reality you can probably get it down to 2 just because you're a tourist.
20 of trying to survive Georgina Cuthbert. I've survived as of now, but if you don't hear from me, guys, you know what's happening.
The best part about Coron is the boat tours. This was my favourite boat tour throughout the whole trip. It was the one that we did first of all. It's called the Super Ultimate boat tour. There's also boat tours A, B, and C. I think the Super Ultimate is A and B combined, but we also did C as well, and that was also really good.
Yeah, if you go on TikTok, you'll find the best boat tour on there. But like Georgie said, the Super Ultimate tour was the best by far. All the boat tours in Coron then cost about £20 English, and for a whole day and lunch included, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and they pick you up from your hotel. I'd recommend not purchasing these in advance because we booked one of them through Get Your Guide, and then we turned up, the hotel was selling it for like half the cost.
After our time in Coron, we then got a ferry to El Nido, which was my favourite place of the trip. This has the best boat tours here. You can fly, but the ferry works out a bit cheaper. I think it was about £17 each. It takes, how long does it take?
Like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, about 3.5 hours.
But we slept a lot of the time. But also the ferry, there's such nice views. That's the best part when you're coming into El Nido and the water is just so blue.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we booked that through 12Go.
Yeah, so 12Go. I'll put it in the description, but make sure you use this site for booking your internal transfers between each place, because that's the cheapest place where you're going to find these options.
So El Nido was probably the best place for backpackers, because there were so many bars and restaurants, and there was just a lot going on.
We stayed at Amos Pili Tree, it's called, and it was a good accommodation all around. We also rented our moped from here, which I'd recommend doing if you want to visit places like Natpan Beach or other beaches in and around El Nido. You need a moped for this.
So we paid about £27 per night for the accommodation, and then it was about £7.50 a day for the moped.
Yeah. So I found the boat tours in El Nido the most fun, and that's why it's my favourite place on the list. But the staff here were really friendly. They're all quite young, so we were just having fun with them. We were flipping with them off the boat and snorkeling. Well, I was flipping. Georgie was watching from the water.
Yeah, and on a few of the boat tours, you have to pay 300 peso, or like £5 to be able to use the kayaks. But it's definitely worth it because I think some things you can't see unless you're in a kayak.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it was definitely really good.
Yeah, of course Georgia would say that though. She didn't do any rowing, just chilled there.
I was on camera duty.
Yeah,
is
camera
what you mean.
duty. Okay, fair
So
enough.
obviously I can't row at the same time.
Yeah. But definitely do this. So you might think, oh, I've got to pay extra for the kayak, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
The views and the mountains you'll see and the water you'll see is just amazing.
The last thing for El Nido was the zip line. This is one of the favourite things that we did there, and it was fairly cheap, and the local showed us how to get there. But you do have to use a moped or a tuk-tuk because it's not really walkable distance, but definitely worth doing because the views were so good.
And then we went from El Nido to Port Barton by a van.
Yeah, bumpy van, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
through the
rough.
mountains, really bumpy.
Yeah.
They even makeshifted a seat, like an extra seat to put in the van, so make sure you don't get that one.
Yeah, we got there a bit early, didn't we, to get a good seat.
Yeah.
But wouldn't recommend if you're hungover.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And we stayed here for 2 nights at this place called Tribal Experience Guest House. Wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend that place.
We had quite a few issues.
Yeah, moved rooms about 3-4
we
times.
did,
Yeah.
But it only cost £18 a night per person.
Yeah,
and there was a hotel next door called Hotel Oasis with good food and like a 5-minute walk from the beach. So I would recommend staying there instead.
Yeah. The food it's a bit dodgy, like opposite our accommodation. There was quite a few food options, but if you go to that Hotel Oasis or stay there, even the food's there really good and it's pretty fair price.
There's also a place called Barton Bistro, which is on the beach and it's with like colourful beanbags. We did go there once or twice, but it was quite expensive as well.
Yeah.
Quite busy actually, but that was also good. So
and dogs as well. Georgie liked stroking the dogs there.
Yeah, I did. And what? We also rented a moped here from one of the local rentals because we wanted to go to Coconut Beach, which is where they've got the pigs, and in also White Beach.
So to go to these beaches, then you're gonna want to rent a moped. But if it's rainy, I probably wouldn't, because when it's rainy, when you're going up the hills, it's like really muddy and wet, so it makes it quite dangerous. And we fell off a few times and then got Georgie's Birks all muddy. So the next place on our list then is Puerto Princesa. We only went there for the underground river, which we'll talk about. But to get here from Port Barton, you're going to want to take a van. It costs about £8 and it's about a 3.5-hour journey, bumpy journey again, but the only way you can get here from Port Barton.
Our accommodation was called Summer Days. It was £35 a night per room, but this was probably the best accommodation in the entire trip.
Our favourite one we had. The breakfast is great. Staff are really friendly, weren't they?
Like a barista coffee as well. And they can bring it like room service, so we had breakfast in bed. As we said, we only came to Puerto Princesa for the underground boat tour.
Yeah.
It's like one of the new 7 wonders of nature. And this is the only reason. So we didn't explore the city or anything like that. We just chilled for the day and recovered because the journey was awful.
Yeah, but the boat tour was really good. You go on a little boat, all got life jackets, all wearing helmets, through the river, underground river. It's all like pitch black, loads of bats in there, so maybe keep your mouth closed and don't look
you're
up.
not allowed to open your mouth.
Yeah, not allowed to open your mouth, but the smell's a bit off, but it's definitely worth going.
We then took a flight from Port Princesa to Bohol, which cost us £70 each.
Yep, we were here for 2 nights, and we stayed initially in a hut, Filipino hut type thing. I'll have it on screen what it looked like, but Georgie didn't want to stay there after about an hour, I think.
Well, yeah, because it started pouring it down, and I kept getting notifications on my phone saying weather warning, and I thought if we get like struck by lightning, the whole like tent hut thing will just go.
Yeah, so we ended up at a hotel anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't taking any risks.
Yeah, but the hotel, you can get accommodation here for about £25 per night per room. So you only come to Bohol for the chocolate hills and the monkeys. What are they called?
Tarsier monkeys.
Tarsier monkeys. I think on that day trip you can have options to see snakes, a big snake, and then some butterflies as well.
We were only in Bohol for 2 nights, but we should have stayed longer because the beaches were really nice and there's loads of like good restaurants. But we only had the morning to see it.
After Bohol, we went to a place called Siquijor. Short ferry across from Bohol.
We were here for the largest portion of the trip. We were here for about 7 nights because it was over Christmas. We wanted like a little holiday. I'd recommend Tambazan Resort. It was really good, but it was really hard to find. But that was about £40 per person per night. But they had amazing breakfast. The staff was so nice.
Yeah,
it was like family run, like a little boutique hotel.
Yeah, but when we went, it was like brand new and it was just top tier. A really great place to stay now.
And if you're coming here, you do need a moped because everything's so far away. This was again like £7.50 from like a local rental nearby.
Places to eat then, we went to a place called Tipsy Bar, which had really good food, and then another place called Baja Bar, which are the two that we both recommend.
So on Christmas Day, we did an Apo Island day tour. We booked this through Cocoa Grove Hotel, and it was about £35 each. Yeah, and we got this with lunch, and we snorkeled with turtles, and we got to explore the islands a tiny bit. It was really pretty.
From Siquijor then, if you're in the right season, if you're in whale season, you can swim with whale sharks. But I don't know how ethical it is, so we opted out of that one. But I think it's about £100 if you do want to do it.
The beaches in and around Siquijor are really nice, and there's beaches along the strip, but they're not so much like a beach, more so like water. We did go in. The water was really warm and like still, so we did go in a few times.
Yeah, it was nice.
We also used the moped to go to other beaches around Siquijor. So we went to this place called Salagdong Beach. That's basically where you can like cliff jump, and the lagoon here was really nice. It was like very deep, but like clear, safe water.
When you go in here though, you've got to pay to park your moped and then also to enter it. I think it'll be less than £5. Maybe the prices have gone up since we went, but it's cheap and definitely worth it. You can get like ice cream and food as well.
We also used the moped to go to this town nearby called Lazi. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And this is where the Lokong Falls are, which were great fun, but you do have to pay a little fee as well. There was also nearby the falls, there was a place called Firefly Treehouse.
Firefly was a great restaurant. It's run by an English guy. He had about 14 dogs, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The
nice
food
house.
was great, and if you go to this restaurant or cafe type thing, just down from it, there's like a private lagoon bit where you can like rope swing and stuff. You do have to pay the guy who like helps you out a small fee or a small tip, but definitely worth it if you do want to go, because it's really good. After Siquijor, we went to Cebu. You can just get a ferry there, and again, book on Want2Go Asia.
We stayed in an apartment. It was about £43 per night, but there was loads like similar on Booking.com. They're a bit cheaper.
Yeah. So we only came to Cebu to go to the airport so that we could go home, but I'd recommend if you've got a spare day or two to do the Casawan Falls. You can do like cliff sliding and cliff jumping, and it's really fun. The most important bit then, the total cost breakdown. Our total cost for accommodation was £407 for 3.5 weeks. This worked out to be around £17 per night average for each of us.
Our internal transport total was £275 each, which included the moped hire for around 10 days and also fuel. This also included 2 flights, 2 ferries and 3 van journeys. We also spent a total of £175 in activities, which included our boat tours and day trips. We did 7 combined in total, and they averaged £25 per activity, inclusive of additional fees for stuff like entry to nature reserve costs.
We spent £240 on food and drinks across the trip. This brings the total costs excluding flights into and out of the country to £1,097.
If you've got any questions about any of it, you can message us on Instagram or put a comment down below, and we'll answer that for you.
Yeah, we'll try and get back to you on there as well. Subscribe if you like the video, and we're also going to be posting videos about East Coast Australia and how to travel the Whitsundays on a budget, which is a great video because Whitsundays, as you probably know if you've researched it, is really expensive, but we're going to make a video on that. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.
Bye.